Hello everyone, we are from Group 1 and we will be presenting on how can affective filters be lowered when teaching tenses using Cognitivism and Constructivism. Now, before we dive into the topic, let me introduce you to our team. I'm Jaya, there's Sarah, Ross, Kelly, Cynthia, Elfrira, Hong, Nick, and Anas. The affective filter hypothesis proposed by Stephen Krashen suggests that emotional factors can significantly impact language acquisition. A high affective filter categorized by anxiety, lack of motivation, low self-esteem can hinder learning. We will learn the ways to lower the affective filter when teaching tenses using constructivism and cognitivism. Our creative project was held on the 3rd of January from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now we have a lot of students of different backgrounds but same proficiency in English that attended this workshop. The Say It Right workshop was based on tenses. So we have 4 different sessions which include past tense, present tense, future tense, and continuous tense. There was a total of 28 students of different background but same level of English proficiency.
In the pre-test questionnaire, in the section 1 for motivation, the first question is I feel excited to learn English in class. 2 students voted for 1 star, which is 8%. 4 students voted for 2 stars, 16%, as well as 4 students as well voted for 3 stars, which is also 16%. And lastly, 15 students voted for 4 stars, which is 60%. In the second question, I am interested to improve my English. 3 students voted for 1 star, which is 12%. 2 students voted for 2 stars, 8%. 5 students voted for 3 stars, 20%. And lastly, 15 students voted for 4 stars, which is 60%. As for the third question, I see English as an important language in this generation. 1 student voted for 1 star, 4%. 4 students voted for 2 stars, which is 16%. 3 students voted for 3 stars, which is 12%, and lastly, 17 students voted for 4 stars, which accumulated to 68%. And in the last question of section 1 is, I enjoy joining English program or activities or discussions in English. 3 students voted for 1 star, which is 12%. 3 students also voted for 2 stars, which is 12%. The same goes for 3 stars, 3 students also, which is 12%, and lastly, 16 students voted for 4 stars, which accumulated to 64%. Based on the questions in section 1 motivation, the majority of the students feel excited to learn English in class, are interested in improving the English, see English as an important language in this generation, and the students enjoy joining English programs or activities or discussions in English.
Assalamualaikum, welcome to section 2, anxiety. On table 5 you can find that 2 students actually voted for 1 star, resulting in 8%. Another 7 students voted for 2 star, 28%. 6 students voted for 3 star, and lastly 10 students voted for 4 star. This concludes that majority of the students find it hard to communicate in English. Table 6 shows that 3 students voted for 1 star, 4 students voted for 2 star, 6 students voted for 3 star, and lastly 12 students voted for 4 star, which again shows that majority of the students struggle with answering or giving presentation in English. Question 3 shows that 1 student voted for 1 star, 4 students voted for 2 star, 9 students voted for 3 star, and whopping 11 students voted for 4 star, which resulting in 44%. Students are worried that they will make mistakes when speaking in English. And last but not least, question 4, it shows that 1 student voted for 1 star, 7 students voted for 2 star, and 9 students voted for 3 star, and lastly 8 students voted for 4 star. It shows that majority of the students are quite anxious when participating in an English class or English activities.
The bar chart reflects the response to the statement, I believe that I can improve my English through practice. The majority of the respondents are agree with the statements indicating strong confidence in their ability in improve through practice. Lower ratings are given by fewer individuals. This bar chart shows that most students feel confident when communicating in English, with 56% of the students agreeing or strongly agreeing. However, 44% still lack confidence, indicating that while many students are confident, a significant numbers of students are facing difficulties. Based on the responses that we got for this statement, I am happy with my current English skills. Majority of the students are disagreeing with this statement, and a few of them are agree, and it shows that there are mixed opinion about their English proficiency. The bar chart reflects to the response number 4, which is I am open in trying new ways of learning English. The majority of the respondents strongly agree to the statement, and this shows that they are open in trying new ways of learning English, showing a positive attitude towards exploring innovative learning methods. Lower ratings are given by fewer individuals.
Now we have proficiency level of student. There are 26 students joining our class, and their bandwidth are range of 3.5 to 4.5. Before we start our lesson, they are not that confident and shy to speak to others. After that, we start with a solid foundation by teaching essential grammar rules in an engaging way. Make it easy for students to understand and apply in real-life communications. To keep things exciting, we add interactive activities like group discussions, role play, and problem-solving tasks. This helps students practice speaking, writing, and collaborating in English. These results were amazing. In the pre-test, students show areas for improvement, but after the class, many report feeling more confident, less anxious, and ready to use English efficiently. Their post-test score clearly reflect their growth.
So from this we can see that the difference between in the levels of motivation pre-workshop and post-workshop. So in pre-workshop, we can see that there was low levels of confidence because of the fear of mistakes and anxiety, which hindered the participation of students. However, in post-workshop, that increased confidence. This is because they had input that reduces fear, and along the way natural fluency build it up as they answered more questions. And they also realized the relevance of English in everyday life, which made them want to increase their level of English, which served as motivation. In terms of questions theory, we can also see that when they first began, most of the class had a high affective filter, where they were afraid and they were stressed, which acted as barriers of learning. However, if we proceeded along the way and they were rewarded and praised for the correct answers they gave, and they were not taunted for the wrong answers, we can see that we provided a safe environment and they were lowered affective filters, and students were more engaging in this environment. So there were a lot of impacts to it. For example, the motivation we provided helped to increase confidence, interest, and participation of students in the classroom itself.
Throughout the whole workshop, we have found out that out of 26 students joining this workshop, 22 students exhibit low self-esteem and were hesitant to speak in front of others, even during the game session or even activities. To address this, we began with a solid foundation by teaching essential grammar and introduction to the tenses before we engage in the activity. To enhance classroom interaction, we incorporated interactive activities that will require all participants to speak and mingle around. By the end of the workshop, we made all the participants to do a post-test questionnaire, and the results were truly inspiring. While the pre-test revealed that there are many areas to improve on, the post-test scores demonstrate that there was a significant growth even within 4 hours of lesson. More importantly, many of the attendees reported a noticeable boost in their self-esteem and confidence when speaking in English.
So for section 4, for our post-test, question 1, we found out that only one student voted for 3 stars and the other 13 students voted for 4 stars, proving that the vast majority of our students felt like they were a part of a learning community during our workshop. For question 2, one student each voted for 2 and 3 stars, while the other 12 students voted for 4 stars, concluding that most of them felt like they exchanged their ideas between the group members. So for question 3, we found out that 2 students voted for 3 stars and the other 12 students voted for 4 stars, concluding that most of them felt like they developed problem-solving skills during our workshop. For the last question, we found out that only one student voted for 3 stars and the other 13 students voted for 4 stars, including that most of them felt like the collaborative learning in their group was effective during our workshop.
Next, we are going to the post question for section 5, which is cognitive difficulty and engagement. There's 4 questions in this section, which is the first question is the learning content of Say It Right workshop was difficult to understand. And the second question is without prior knowledge of English tenses, the information shared in Say It Right workshop was not understandable. The third question is it was difficult to understand the learning materials used in Say It Right workshop. And the last question is I made an effort to understand the learning content of the lessons in Say It Right workshop. For the first question, which is the learning content of Say It Right workshop was difficult to understand. So for this one, most of the students voted 1 star, in which means that they don't find any difficulty in understanding the learning content of the workshop. The second question is without prior knowledge of English tenses, the information shared in Say It Right workshop was not understandable. So in this one, again, most of the students voted 1 star, which means they find it is easy to understand even though without prior knowledge of English tenses. Okay, for the third question, which is it was difficult to understand the learning materials used in Say It Right workshop. So from here, we can see that 9 students voted for 1 star, in which it means that it is not difficult to understand the learning materials used in the workshop. And for the last question, which is I made an effort to understand the learning content of the lessons in Say It Right workshop. So majority of the students voted 4 star, meaning they do make an effort in learning the content during the workshop.
As for section 6, the questions that were asked were mostly about student satisfactions. There were about 3 questions asked in this section, which were 1, I was able to learn from the discussions in Say It Right workshop. 2, as a result of my experience with Say It Right workshop, I would like to join another workshop in the future. And 3, Say It Right workshop was a useful learning experience. Next, as part of these findings, about 92.9% of students were able to learn from discussions in Say It Right workshop. Next, 92.9% of students say that they would like to join another workshop in the future. And for the next question, another 92.9% claims that Say It Right workshop was a useful learning experience for them. The program's capacity to lower learners' affective filters and reduce anxiety or fear is one of its main strengths. This can greatly enhance learners' acquisitions of tenses, including past, present, and future tenses, as well as continuous forms. Comprehensible input is crucial for supporting learners' cognitive processes, meaning we use language that is just a little bit beyond the learner's present level, but is nonetheless intelligible with the help of scaffolding and context. Beyond that, it is important to refrain from overcorrecting errors in both constructivist and cognitivist methods. Excessive correction can demotivate the students, causing them to become more anxious and obstructing the cognitive processes necessary for language learning. When required, we give one-on-one feedback. Constructivist social interaction and cognitive processing theories are in line with personalized feedbacks. In a way that seems encouraging rather than punishing, it enables teachers to target certain problem areas, including the abuse of continuous tenses.
Welcome again. For strength, I'm going to talk about boost confidence. Building confidence in teaching tenses can be done by combining 2 powerful approaches, which is cognitivism and constructivism. Cognitivism helps kids feel secure by giving them clear and structured predictable, such as timeline bar and verb charts. Immediate feedback is key here. It reassures kids that mistakes are just part of the journey, not something to be afraid of. And you guys need to remember, as a teacher, we need to create a judgment-free zone or fostering a good environment. On the flip side, constructivism focuses on making learning interactive and meaningful. Activities like group storytelling or role-playing. For example, my own idea, a game called Timed Tales, which connects to kids' real life and makes it more relatable, more fun, and a safe space for them exploring tenses in a way that feels natural. So, by blending these two approaches, we're not just teaching grammar rules, we are helping kids feel confident to use all the tenses, especially past tenses for my part, in their everyday lives.
During our program, students are able to learn by doing. Students learn the best when they are actively use the language by participating in activities that requires them to practice tenses in real life situation. They see how English tenses are used meaningfully. For examples, students might talk about their days, which they will be using present tense, share what they did yesterday, which they will apply past tense, or plans about what they will do tomorrow, which they will apply in future tense. This helps them to connect the grammar to real life conversation.
Now we are going to go through the limitations on the theory of cognitivism and constructivism, in which the theory that we use in our workshop. First, for cognitivism, we have overemphasis on rules and structures. So, since cognitivism often involves explicit grammar teaching, and for our workshop, we teach the English tenses, and it can be rigid or overwhelming to students, especially those with high anxiety or low confidence in language learning. For constructivism is the time intensive. So constructivist activities such as role plays or collaborative projects, and in our workshop there is collaborative projects, it require more time compared to explicit instruction. So limited time might hinder students' ability to fully grasp tenses and leading to feeling of inadequacy.
Next, the limitations on cognitivism theory is that it has limited flexibility for hands on learning, where cognitivism tends to emphasize mental processing rather than hands on experiences and active engagement, which are mostly central to experiential and constructivist learning approaches. As well as for constructivism, it is resource intensive, where it requires skilled instructors to teach students.
For cognitivism, there is an assumption of uniformity in learning, meaning it assumes all students process information the same way. This can be limiting when teaching complex concepts like tenses, as it doesn't account for individual differences in cognitive abilities or prior knowledge. As a result, learners may experience cognitive overload, which can hinder their ability to grasp the material. So to overcome this, the teachers need to personalize their learning and adjust the pace to fit the diverse learners' needs. In constructivism, however, learning is seen as an active social process, but it recognizes unequal participation among students. So not all learners engage at the same level, and some may contribute more than others due to factors like confidence or background knowledge. This is natural, but it can pose challenges in ensuring every student is involved. So teachers can address this by encouraging participation at all levels, ensuring a more inclusive and dynamic learning environment for their students.
Now we move on to suggestions, which is the first suggestion is language escape room explanation. The language escape room is an engaging activity designed to enhance students' English skills through teamwork and problem solving. The classroom is transformed into a series of challenging stations. Each station is tasks like solving rights, unscrambling sentence, or finding hidden words, all in English. Students work in small teams to complete these tasks. Success at each station unlock clues to progress to the next, creating a sense of achievement and accomplishment. To make it more immersive, a storyline is added, such as solving the mystery of a lost artifact or escape route from a mysterious island.
Next would be role-playing scenarios, and why this works as an activity to help students boost their confidence level in speaking English, right? First of all, role-playing immerses students in practical and real-world situations where they can actively use English. It makes learning interactive, builds confidence, and helps them see how English applies to everyday life, increasing their motivation to learn English. So this also taps into students' creative side and can cater to various skill levels, which makes it a very versatile strategy to be used in a classroom. So, how is this going to work? So, we'll be choosing scenarios, and there will be such certain situations relevant to students' needs or interests. For example, ordering food at a restaurant, working in a hotel room or flight, etc., etc. So, what are the benefits of this? First of all, it would be practical application. So, students can practice real world communication skills. And second would be confidence building. So, repeated practice in a low pressure environment boosts self assurance. Why is it low pressure? So the students will have the help of teachers and also be rewarded or corrected in a very gentle way after they have role played as their character. They also have their friends there to support them and obtain peer feedback. And there's also engagement, which helps to act out scenarios and keep students involved and excited. This gives them a safe environment to learn English rather than in a real world where people would judge them if they ever make a mistake in a situation like this. So we're basically providing a safe environment in the classroom for students to make mistakes so that they can apply this in their day-to-day life.
So, what are the suggestions that we can do in the classroom? For me, it will be the time traveler's diary. It's basically explaining to the students on imagining that they are time travelers who have visited at different time period. This is where you can incorporate tenses, past tense, present tense, even future tense. By doing this, students are able to explore and have a game-based learning while actually practicing speaking skills. So, in conclusion, the English Say It Right workshop on tenses not only enhanced participants' grammatical knowledge but also effectively lowered their affective filter. By creating a supportive and engaging learning environment, the workshop fostered a positive learning experience, leading to increased confidence, self-esteem, and improved language. So that is all from Group 1. We hope that you have learned something and enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.